welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm Bruce Anthony, your host here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation by following us wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch our video podcasts. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, it's a sibling happy hour. I'm here with my sis, Aundrea. We're going to be talking about a funny, or not funny, an interesting story in the news. We're going to be talking about Manosphere, and also we'll be praising some men some of the time. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. What up, sis?
What up, brother?
I can't call it. You got something new to introduce to the audience today?
I do. There's a new addition to my little family of me and my dog Tenderoni. His name is Roscoe, and he is an 8-week-old puppy. He's a Doberman Bull Mastiff mix. I did not know I was getting him. But when the call came in, hey, can you take this dog? I'm about to go pick him up. I just ran to PetSmart and bought all the puppy stuff I could think of. And he has been a great addition to the family. Roni just loves him. They play together. They're so cute. And he's just a little dumpling. And I'm just so happy. So
he is absolutely adorable. And I was really hoping that Roni would take to him, because we know Roni don't like dogs. Roni did not like Crypto at all. Roni didn't like Tokyo when you rescued that dog for that night. But Roni has just taken to little Roscoe. And that's not his. Tell the people what his full name is.
His name is Roscoe Gerald Levert. Everybody always asks, but I mean, Tenderoni's name is Tenderoni Shalimar. But I saw him and he just looked like a Roscoe, and I never thought I would name a dog Roscoe. I mean, judging by my first dog, I mean, her name is Tenderoni. I'm not a typical dog name type person, but he looked like a Roscoe. Also, I've been watching Reacher on Prime.
Great show.
And the main cop lady, her name is Roscoe. So I think it was just in my head. Her first name is Roscoe.
Is it Roscoe?
Yeah, that was kind of like the joke. She introduced herself. He's like, "Your name is Roscoe?" And she's like, "Yes."
Oh, you're watching the first season. I don't even remember her. Yeah, I don't even remember her name, but oh, okay, yes. Okay, the first season, the detective Roscoe. Okay, yes, I got it.
Yes.
Good show. You called me. I don't know if you remember. Would you send me a memo?
Do.
Okay, you sent me a memo, and you was like, "Are you as big as Reacher?" And I said, "First season, I'm as big as Reacher. The second season, I am not as big as Reacher." He gets.
Second season, he's big. How is that possible?
He gets a lot bigger. He looks like a version of The Rock in the second season.
How is that? How can he? Because first season Reacher, he was gigantic.
Yes. No, he's like my build. He's my height. He might be 6'5" instead of 6'4". Big guy. He was Aquaman on Smallville. So I've followed his career for a long time. So he's a little slightly younger than me. I think he's around 42, 43. So just slightly younger than I am. And he said he had to get himself in shape. He had to get to 235 pounds before the start of the first season. And so he killed himself. He had 8 months to do it. And I think that was like, he had to put on like 25 pounds or something like that of muscle. And so he said he killed himself in the gym. And then after the season was over, he did his regular physical. They did blood work, and he was like, "I didn't have any testosterone left. Like, it was all gone." And I was like, "Yeah, bro, you're 40. Like, like it starts leaking from us at the age of 30.
Not leaking.
It starts leaking. It starts leaking from us at the age of 30. By the time you get to 40, it's like, yo, do I got any more? And he didn't have any more left. So to
Oh.
prepare for the second season, he started doing testosterone shots. And I'm not knocking them. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes
Yeah.
people got to do testosterone shots. Would I do testosterone shots? No, because I don't want to take no shots. But if there was some testosterone pills,
If you had a testosterone deficiency.
oh, I absolutely, like, I'm 44. I can
Yeah.
feel it when I go to the gym. I'm tired all the time. All the
Yeah.
symptoms that he said, I need to go get some blood work done because all the symptoms that he said, I got.
Yeah.
Just being tired all the time, lethargic, really trying to kick yourself into gear in the
And
gym.
it's
It's
gotta
hard.
be hard to carry that much muscle around, like that
What?
much weight. Like it's gotta be just getting up from a chair. Like it can't be easy to do. Like
Yeah, you hear me when I get up a chair and sit down. You
that's
always talk about how I'm making sounds. It ain't easy to move this body.
jeez.
Some of my
Yes.
clients now, I just be lazy, and they'll have weights in their hands, and they're like, so here, you want to take this? Because normally back in the day, I would grab everything and move all this
Yeah.
stuff around. I was like, you can put it right over there. You can put it right over there. You don't need
Yeah.
my help for that. Go ahead and put that right over there.
That's call that a rep. That's a go on put it back.
Go on, put it back. Well, okay, this is a weird segue, and you kind of didn't want to talk about this, but I was like, this is interesting.
Well, first we have to say something very important.
Okay, say what's important.
Today's February 1st.
That's right.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. I thought we normally
Yeah.
say that at the end. That's what you did last year.
Bruce, I don't know what I did last week.
And I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And I'm bliggity black, and I'm black, y'all. And if y'all don't get that, that's a CB4 reference. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I posted that on my stories.
Yes.
Okay, Jay, that was a weird. I'm trying to get to this story, and you say Happy Black History Month.
But I want to make it even more difficult for us to talk about this.
Well, we're gonna talk about it anyway. I was perusing it's not funny. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
But I find it interesting. So as always, I'm on the internet reading articles all day long, every day, all day long. That's what I do. And this headline comes across and it says, basically, I'm paraphrasing, man with head on YouTube video. And I was like, huh? What is this? So I click on it, and basically here's the story. Justin Moan is a man from Levittown, Pennsylvania. He's been accused of a serious crime, y'all. Serious. According to reports, he allegedly beheaded his father and then displayed the severed head in a YouTube video. He was taken into custody on suspicion of first-degree murder. I don't know how there was any suspicion when he got his dad's head on the YouTube video. Yes, he showed it on the YouTube video. It's since been taken down from YouTube. But suspicion for first-degree murder and denied bail. I would hope he'd be denied bail. He was found on a National Guard base after allegedly committing a crime. The incident has caused a significant disturbance in the local community. I mean, I guess it would. Justin has expressed a variety of beliefs on his social media platforms. He's described himself as a musician. I mean, that's pretty good. A producer, an author of 7 books that's available on Amazon, a commander of America's national network of militias.
Those are going to get taken down from Amazon so quickly if they haven't been already.
Maybe. He's the commander of America's national network of militias. These are all the things that he said he was on his social media. He's the acting president of the United States, and even suggested he might be the Messiah. The video posted on YouTube, he expressed anti-government sentiments and called for the execution of all federal workers, claiming that they betrayed American citizens. And he rallied against what are described as far left, woke, pro-immigrant, pro-Black Lives Matter, and pro-LGBTQ influencers in the federal government that he said are destroying America. And the reason why he killed his dad, because his dad was a federal worker. So as he said, you got to kill all federal workers. So he killed his dad and beheaded him. So he's in jail right now. So I thought that was an interesting story. And I know you didn't want to talk about it, but what's interesting to me is we're in an election year.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these people on the far right. They're saying these inflammatory things to cause fear and get people riled up. And you're going to see things like this. This is an extreme, right? But
Yes.
how extreme is it really? Because 3 years ago, there was a storming at the Capitol on January 6th where they were literally had nooses calling to hang Mike Pence. Now,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that believes that if they didn't get their hands on Mike Pence or AOC or any politicians that they didn't like, if you didn't
Right.
think that they would hurt those politicians, you're delusional. So I find it fascinating, and the whole theme of today's episode is how media influences stupid
Mm-hmm.
people. That's stupid people. Okay, that's what the whole
How media influences vulnerable people.
vulnerable people are stupid people. No, that's not
No.
true. That's not true. I'm taking
No.
that back. That's not true.
Right.
But definitely vulnerable people. And there's a lot of people out there. I love watching. I love watching these interviewers that interview people at Trump rallies and just hear their beliefs. And it's not all I said stupid people. There's not all stupid people. There are some smart people that keep getting fed information. If you keep getting fed the same information over and over and over again, even when you think it's a lie in the beginning, when it's jammed down your throat, you're going to start to believe, oh, this is actually the truth.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What you think?
I think we are woefully underfunding mental health services in our country. I think
Okay.
that um, this guy, I don't know if he was influenced by the internet. I mean, it really doesn't seem to be anything pointing to that, except for the fact that he has a lot of conspiracy theories. And that's really a lot of what you'll hear in that echo chamber of like 4chan and Truth Social and
You go
wherever the hell they hang out. I don't know where they hang out.
True social is a good starting point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they hang out because I don't know nothing about that. But
Fox News,
um yeah. Um
OON.
but is there definitely an issue going on in this country? Well, I mean, it's an old issue, right? Using the media uh for fear mongering, right, to control the public, uh, especially to point them in the direction of what you want them to believe. But he yeah, he could be a victim of that. There's so many talking heads that say really, really dangerous things to a very
Mm-hmm.
wide and broad audience. And no one is really holding these infotainment
Mm.
infotainment people or quote unquote journalists. You can't really call what they do journalism, but these talking heads, these pundits, nobody is holding them truly accountable for the really dangerous rhetoric that they're spewing. And then you have people who are outside of the mainstream with their podcasts and things like that, as we talk about this on a podcast.
Yeah,
But
right.
but
right.
who the internet has provided a platform for everybody to voice their opinions, even if they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to just start thinking about, when are we going to rein this in, or are we just going to continue to allow? I mean, I get people's position on free speech and things like that. I think the internet is a great forum for people to exchange ideas, but it can also be very dangerous, and it can give rise to people like what was his name?
Yeah, Justin.
Justin Moan. Yeah,
Justin Moan or Moan or
yeah,
whatever. First
Mon.
of all,
I'm not sure.
he should have had a better last name in life.
Well, he
Just
got his last name from his dad. God rest him.
God rest his soul. A federal worker. I think he was a
Federal
mailman.
No, he was an engineer. So not his father didn't do anything like directly political. He wasn't a legislator. He was an engineer with the geo-environmental section of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers,
Mm,
Philadelphia district.
mm, mm, mm.
Um, who, of course, the Army Corps of Engineers, I mean, do great work. They're the reason our levees hold and things like that. So,
Yeah.
um, just a really sad story, but it is very true that there are a lot of dangerous people out here spewing very dangerous rhetoric, and they have a platform to do it.
Yes. So, like I said, there's an overall arcing theme for today's episode, and it's about media influence
Hmm.
and how it's affecting people. And, it affected this young man, and he was a young man. It wasn't somebody that was,
I mean, he's
in his
still
40s.
alive. They Is he still alive?
Yeah, I said he affecting the young man. I didn't say he was dead. I just said he was a young man.
Oh, you said he was a young man, so I didn't know if he was
I
alive or
mean,
not.
yeah, I mean, he is, excuse me. He is a
Yeah.
young man affected by the media.
Hmm.
One of the ways in which media is starting to affect the youth, male youth in particular, is
Hmm.
this thing called Manosphere. And we're going to get to that next. Hey there, podcast listeners. It's Bruce Anthony here, and welcome to another episode of Unsolicited Perspectives. Today, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind lately: the importance of staying hydrated and taking care of ourselves. Whether it's prioritizing our health and wellness, or gearing up for festival seasons, or just gearing up for whatever season or time of year, there's one brand that's been my go-to for all things hydration: Liquid IV. Speaking of health and wellness, let's dive into how Liquid IV can fuel your well-being. Imagine starting your day off right, feeling refreshed and energized. Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier is the missing piece in your daily routine. With just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than water alone. It's perfect for those early mornings, pre-workout boosts, moments when you're just feeling run down, or even after a late night or long flights. I absolutely love how convenient Liquid IV is. The packaging makes it easy to bring with me wherever I go. And let me tell you, it's become a vital daily part of my routine. The flavors, let me tell you something, they're incredible. From refreshing sea berry and strawberry lemonade to classics like lemon lime and watermelon, there's a flavor for every preference. It's like a burst of hydration with a hint of deliciousness. Picture this: 1 stick of Liquid IV mixed in 16 ounces of water, hydrating you 2 times faster and more efficient than water alone. And with 12 mouth-watering flavors, you'll never get bored with your hydration routine. Plus, Liquid IV is packed with 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and of course, vitamin C. It's also made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, free of gluten, dairy, and soy. This is hydration at its finest. But it doesn't stop there. Liquid IV believes that access to clean and abundant water is the foundation of a healthier world. That's why they partner with leading organizations, finding innovative solutions to help communities protect both their water and their futures. It's incredible to know that Liquid IV has already donated over 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world. They truly walk the talk. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code UNSOLICITED at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code UNSOLICITED at liquidiv.com. Remember, folks, taking care of ourselves should always be a priority. So why wait? Head over to liquidiv.com, pick your favorite flavors, and experience hydration like never before. Stay refreshed, stay hydrated, and keep rocking those unsolicited perspectives. All right, sis, before we get to Manosphere, we need to set the stage of what we're actually going to be talking about. So, a
Hmm.
lot of this information comes from this article. And what's the name of the article again?
It was an article in Business Insider, and it's titled "The Gen Z Gender Gap is Widening, and the Influence of Manosphere Podcasters Cannot Be Ignored." It came out today. and it's got a lot of interesting information in it.
So everybody's going to ask, what are they talking about this gender gap among Gen Z? So it's a phenomenon that's happening between obviously the genders and Gen Z,
Mm-hmm.
men and women, um, and it's happening with political divergence. Right, young women have become substantially more liberal over the past several years, whereas views held by young men have mostly remained the same. The divergence is leading to a gender gap in political views that is wider and diverging more rapidly than what is seen in previous generations. You know, some of this stuff is because of major things that's been happening. You
Yeah.
have political events like the election of Donald Trump. You had the Me Too movement. You had the Supreme Court decision to overturn abortion rights, basically
Yeah.
overturning Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of these things have had a really strong impact on women, and women are just like, yo, to hell with all of this. Y'all are belittling us, putting us down after all the work that feminists had done in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. We're not going back to that. Now,
Right.
because women are standing up for themselves and saying that we're not going to take it, right? There's been a backlash from young men
Mm-hmm.
who said, you know, the Me Too movement has gone a little bit too far. Uh, Basically, women, they're scared because women are gaining more and more control, gaining more and more of a voice. And they're also really scared of changing of the gender norms, right? What isn't discussed in this article but should be discussed is the fact that women don't need men no more financially, by and large, because women are out here getting their money.
Mm-hmm.
So what are men bringing to the table as far as dating is concerned? It can't be just your finances, though that is the case still in some situations.
Right.
But you guys got to bring more to the table than money and dick, like
Yeah.
because also women now have toys that's better than what you got. So if you ain't got, you know, if they don't need your money and they don't need that instrument, you need to bring something else to the table. This is a shock because these young men are saying, well, the generations before them didn't have to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Every generation evolves.
Yeah.
You need to evolve and adapt. And they're not Gen Z, not every male, we're talking generalities here.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Z males are pushing back against feminism and embracing more of toxic masculinity. So you said you had notes before we actually go to the manosphere of how these things are cultivating within these young men. But let's break down some of your thoughts on the article.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, Gen Z men are, for lack of a better word, they're struggling. They're struggling in society today. It is not all their fault, right? They're falling behind in education,
Mm-hmm.
educational engagement, and outcomes. Um, the rates of young male economic inactivity has risen considerably over the past 20 years.
So that's basically dudes ain't getting no money.
They ain't got no money.
They ain't got no money, ain't getting no money.
Right. Sexual activity has dropped. There is
Well,
a loneliness crisis.
yeah.
Suicide rates have risen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
they're coming of age in a time of romantic rejection,
Mm-hmm.
alienation,
Mm-hmm.
economic failure, and they need an enemy.
Mm. Mm.
They need a definable enemy
Mm-hmm.
that will say, you know, it makes me think honestly of the time of enslavement
Ooh, okay.
and how there are more overseers than there were masters.
Hmm.
There were more, and who do you think was more pissed off when we received emancipation?
Oh, those overseers.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now they had some, they didn't have the money, but they
Mm-mm.
had a position.
They had the power.
They had power above,
Yeah.
not real power. It was
No.
loaned power. It
Yeah. It
wasn't real
was.
power.
It was.
But they had a position above.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're having
There
to
was a
work
hierarchy.
alongside. Yes.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a hierarchy. Yeah.
Who joined the posses? Those old overseers.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who are doing that. So it makes me think of the same thing. People need an external enemy. And who better than the people you were above, but who are now seeing higher educational outcomes, who are closing the wage gap? It's not closed yet,
Yeah,
but
closing. They ain't
there
closed yet. Yeah.
but we're seeing more economic growth. Black women in this country are still number one in terms of entrepreneurship and starting new businesses. You're seeing women advocate for uh, mental health and therapy and things like that, and breaking generational curses and setting boundaries and things like that. So these are people that you used to be in a position of power over.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are telling you you have to work alongside them.
Mm. Yeah.
It's
And men aren't
easier.
taking it well. Yeah.
They're
Well,
not gonna take it.
right. So it's interesting. It's funny that I never even thought about that loaned power, because you're absolutely right. Overseers
Mhm,
had loaned power. And
mhm,
men, by and large, had this loaned respectability. In
mhm,
other words, there was some men out there that was out there taking care of their families, bringing home the bread. That was that old traditional male where the wife was a homemaker. But there were
mhm.
some men out there that was not doing that, but they still
Right.
were better than that woman who was the Susie homemaker who, if she did go to college, it was only for nursing or to be a school teacher.
Mhm.
Like
Or
that.
secretary.
Or did they even have to go to college to be a secretary?
Yeah, you had to learn
Okay.
shorthand and typing and all of that.
Okay. All right. All right. I stand corrected.
Some light accounting.
So that sucks. But also, I'm not saying I agree with it. So let me say that first. I do not agree with it. I
And
understand it though.
also, let's be clear, men with their shit together are not in the manosphere.
No, they are not. These are, well, there might be men. You're talking about mentally and emotionally with their shit together.
And they got some money in their pocket. And
I
they got a
know for a fact. You look at
yeah.
the men. We're going to get to the point. We're going to get later in the show where we talk about the influencers in this
Mhm.
manosphere. They have money, but
Oh yeah, I'm
also,
not talking about the opportunists.
yeah,
I'm talking
okay,
about the
okay.
people within the manosphere, the actual community of people within the manosphere.
Yeah, yes, and for those men, we'll get into later those incels and things of that nature who are basically celibate because they can't get no woman. Um, you got to bring more to the table than just I have a good job. Like I
Right.
said, that can get you women, that can get you a certain type of woman, but
Mhm.
that's not getting you women if you never developed a personality. What are your interests?
Right.
um, if all you're doing is talking about your job and your material possessions, some women still absolutely dig that. You can find your lane. You just
Yes.
competing with a lot of men that might be better off than you financially. So
Mhm.
those women that are attracted to that type of thing, you're going to be down on the pecking order. What did
Yeah.
we establish that what was that, the totem pole? Which one was the
Yeah.
high and the low? We couldn't figure that out. Which was bad, being on the low or the high of the totem pole?
Oh, you don't want to be the low man on the totem pole
Yeah,
because
don't want to be on
you're
the low.
supporting everybody above you.
Right, right.
Mhm.
So okay, so we've been going on and on and on about this manosphere.
Yeah.
What is it? So, the Manosphere is a network of online communities focused on men's issues and genuinely holds anti-feminist views.
Mhm.
They express that feminism is harmful. The Manosphere often views feminism as harmful to society and men, not just men, to society. So
Yeah.
they look at it as women uh, getting education, going out there, getting their money is a detriment to society. And you know where that comes from, right? That comes from, if women are out there working and doing all these things, who's going to be home taking care of the kids? Because
Right.
they had this outdated view. Once again, going to one of the issues that they have, the changing of the gender norms, they have this
Mhm.
outdated view of what life is. They
Right.
want to go back to the 60s.
No, they don't. And that's another thing. And here's why they buy in a lot to gender roles, those traditional gender roles, and the gender binary. But here's why it doesn't work and why it ultimately is unnatural. Because they are saying they want to go back to the time where the man was the breadwinner and the head of the household and the woman was the housekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're decrying what they call quote unquote gold diggers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, they want you to go 50-50 on the bills.
Right.
But still pick up 100% of the care of the children. Like they
Yeah.
don't. They want, but they don't want. They like this, but they don't want that. But they also want, like, it's never really defined what you actually want. What are you actually looking for? And the reason is because it is an unnatural position to put both parties into. To
Mm-hmm.
put both parties into this tiny little box where you can only act this way and you can only be this way and nothing else, or you're not a woman or you're not a man. But even within that binary, there is still so much hypocrisy
Yeah.
and confusion. Like, it sounds confusing. We as women have no idea what men are actually looking for because you're getting such conflicting messages. That's what I wanted to talk about. The messages is conflicting as hell.
Now, why would men be confused? What are some of the most confused males in the world?
Tell me.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Because a lot of them aren't having sex. You
Mhm.
need that after sex clarity. So these men are out here. These men are out here with no after sex clarity,
Right.
just confused and running around. They're teenagers. So this manosphere, feminism is a big enemy because
Hmm.
it threatens society. It also creates this idea that men are being prejudiced against. So
Hmm.
that was their situation. There was their angst against the Me Too movement. Now,
Right.
I have something to say about that. If men out here not realizing how often women are being sexually assaulted, y'all are stupid. Was it a statistic that I read one time that every 2 and 3 women have been sexually assaulted? Now, the sexual assault varies, right?
Hmm.
Groping to full on sexual assault. I don't like saying the R word, but the full
Yeah.
on sexual assault, it varies. But basically every woman that you know in your life has been sexually assaulted somehow. Women have to walk around in fear
Hmm.
all of the time because men think that women are their possession. This is another thing that's preached in the manosphere, that males are the superiority and women are there to be their property.
Yes.
And you have women out there that are afraid that things happen to them and they don't speak up because for various reasons. There are
Hmm.
various reasons why women don't speak up. And there are various reasons why if one woman speaks up, it gives another woman courage to speak up. That's the reason
Yeah.
why you saw domino effects of all these women coming forward, talking against Weinstein, against Cosby. Hell,
Hmm.
it's getting ready to come out about Vince McMahon. You know, it's the reason why it's one person gives another person the strength to
Yeah.
speak their truth. These idiots are out here saying, and I already talked about Vince McMahon on the show on Tuesday, but I read the comments. Vince McMahon did something horrible. He was a part of something absolutely horrible to this young lady. And I read these comments, and these guys are like, well, she took the money. It wasn't, she didn't mind that bad when she was getting this and that. It was a deal that she had because they was getting, he gave her a good job. Yes, he did give her a good job. And they did have a consensual relationship in the beginning. But when he starts pimping her out to his friends, and she's like, I'm not feeling this. And he's like, you're going to do it anyway. That's when it crosses the line. If any
That's where
man
it
doesn't
crosses the
understand
line.
that, if any man doesn't understand that, go to jail. Because I guarantee you, when you step foot and those bars clash behind you, you're going to know what it's like to be treated as a woman because you're meat in prison. Don't nobody want to talk about that. No
Right.
man wants to go to prison and like, oh man, that stuff. Like, yeah, what do you think men do out there to women? It's the same thing that men do to men in prison.
Yeah.
So that fear that you have being in prison, that's the fear that women live with every single day. Men need to shut the hell up. When a woman says she's been assaulted, look, are there women out there that lie? Yes. But how often is it? Few and far between. There are more women, I guarantee you, I bet my life on it. There are more women that don't say anything than there
Right.
are women who lie.
That's absolutely true.
Not even close. So these are all the things that are happening in the Manosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And these are podcasts and television shows that algorithms are pushing to these young men.
Yes.
And I will tell you, because I'm the one who clears the comments that on our YouTube page, and
Mm-hmm.
we get a ton of comments. And
Mm-hmm.
people are like, well, I look at your videos, I don't see a lot of comments, because let me tell you something. Me and my sister, this is a prime example, this episode, talk about real shit.
Yeah.
And those men don't like it. And so there's a lot of negativity on YouTube. But if I start talking about how men are superior to women and I start feeding in the manosphere, I'm going to get a lot of right on, preach on, brother. That's what I'm talking about. There's going to be a lot of likes, a lot of comments.
Mm-hmm.
So YouTube is pushing algorithms. IG, TikTok are pushing these algorithms because if you click it one time, the algorithm says, oh, you like it. It's going to start feeding it and bombarding it with you. And these these men fall into this toxic.
But kids also.
Yes. That's the major problem because we're talking about Gen Z. And yes, there are some 20-year-olds that are in Gen Z, but the majority of them are basically teenagers right now. That's specifically what I'm talking about. They're being influenced by some of these podcast influencers who are using them, gaming them, because they're getting money from it.
Yeah.
And, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get why you use the analogy, the prison analogy, but the reason why analogies like that don't work for guys in the manosphere, to incels and men's rights activists and things like that.
Men's rights. There's men's rights and father rights activists now. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
The reason why it doesn't work is because inherent in analogies like that is like the foundational idea that you see people as human beings.
Preach to them.
And because they don't see women as human beings, they are property.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can find such parallels in the manosphere with how people acted during enslavement and post emancipation and all of that toward
or
black
now.
women. Or now.
Yeah.
Or now,
because
right?
I was having an interesting conversation with somebody, and they were saying in the army, in our armed forces, they will come up with these derogatory names for the enemy, which basically helps the soldier dehumanize their enemy so that they can attack. This is a common tactic in America. We often dehumanize our enemy. You see it in a lot of things that happened with Justin in the first segment. He talked about leftists, woke. BLM for some reason has become a rallying cry for those people to
it's
downgrade.
For anti-black racism.
It's anti-black. Yeah, it's anti-black. Yeah. It's anti-black. Anytime somebody says BLM in a derogatory manner, you telling on yourself. I know exactly who the hell you are.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. And so you're right. It's a dehumanization of women.
And other men. Because if you have, because I guarantee you've probably seen comments where you're a simp, cuck, beta. These are all again buzzwords, right? To dehumanize.
Oh, you think I didn't? I just had Dr. Iram Weiss talking about men's fear of women. and I post some clips on YouTube. Oh hell yeah, there was a lot of comments from those men. Oh, there's some simp stuff. And you know what's really funny to me? All these guys, and we'll get into the main target in the next segment. We can bring him up now. Andrew Tate. We're gonna talk about Andrew Tate's ass because he is a former professional boxer. But most of these guys that say these things would never say it to my face because I am coming out there like a black Jack Reacher and will snatch their eyeball out of their mouth. They're keyboard
out
tough
of their
guys.
Mouth?
Yeah, snatch their eyeball out of their mouth.
Out of their mouth?
That's right. You reach in, you put your fist through their mouth, and
then
you,
what through the sinus? I'm trying to figure out
through the sinus. You do the sinus. You go in through the sinus.
Yeah.
You pluck it and you pull it down their throat, pull it through their throat and the fallopian tubes and pull it out their mouth.
No, those aren't there.
You sure?
No, I'm positive. Positive that there are no fallopian tubes.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
In the throat.
Into the throat.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I am, pretty positive about that.
But basically, stand on Manosphere. It's impacting young men because the Manosphere is often blamed for the negativity shaping young men's attitudes towards gender equality and feminism. Gender equality, like, I made a mistake earlier when I said, two genders, male and female. There's more than that. But for this purpose,
we're talking in the gender binary because that's where they operate.
That's where they operate. But yeah, they're coming in. There's this male separatism. The ideology of the Manosphere is centered on male separatism, and some groups advocate for complete disengagement from women. Now, personally, that sounds to me that they just don't want women.
A lot of it is that. A lot of it is they just hate women. But more than that,
no, that's not what I meant by that. That's not what I meant by that.
Yeah, no. There was a question about that. Who was a jackass that died? But he was very popular.
Wait a minute, damn! Time out. You just said the jackass that died.
Yeah,
that's how you go. That's how you go phrase that. The man is dead. I'm assuming that the jackass is male. The man is dead, and you're just gonna call him. Is he recently dead?
Yeah. I mean, not recently. What was that man's name? Kevin.
Not Kevin Smith.
Kevin.
You talking about Kevin Owen? No, not Kevin Owens. Keith Lee? No, not Keith Lee. Kevin. I know you're talking Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels. That's it.
Yeah, you're talking about Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, I think there was some.
He did just die recently, though.
Yeah, he did.
It was last year.
Yeah. So anyway, there was some. I think he had a video or something that talking about that separatist stuff, and there was a rumor that he may have been homosexual. But it's sort of like taking control of your own narrative. So, like, say for instance, there's something about you that people make fun of, right? And so you kind of preempt that by making jokes about it before they do. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm a separatist. No, women don't mess with you. But instead of like taking ownership of that,
you're just ugly and corny, and women don't rock with you like that.
Right. Because to them, the fact that women are not attracted to them is just what's wrong with society. Okay. And instead of like self-reflection, saying, hey, maybe I should get a haircut. Maybe I should.
What if they can't grow no hair? What if they can't grow no hair?
Well, maybe I should, lather it up, put some shea butter on my head or something. Maybe I should get a new wardrobe. Maybe I should read a book. Maybe I'll go back to school or learn a trade or leave the current job I'm in and try something else or start a business, or maybe I'll move out my mama basement and stop with the Twitter fingers and put my hands to use. Like there's a lady on TikTok, and she was like, all these men with podcasts, When are one of y'all gonna go build a house?
Well, some of us don't have that type of ability. Okay.
But you want women to go back to those traditional roles.
I personally don't. And I don't want to
Not
build a
you
house. Yeah.
specifically. Yeah, not you specifically. But it's like, okay, well, go build a house then.
Right? It's gonna be a
You
carpenter.
know, go
I ain't
be a
Jesus.
carpenter.
I'm not
Right.
Jesus. Okay. So but
Yeah,
I don't question no more from women than
yeah,
what I'm willing to put in the situation. I don't
right.
expect them to follow certain gender roles. That's just me personally. But
But you
also
what?
I'm a almost 44-year-old single male. So
Yeah.
maybe I got it all wrong. Maybe I need to be in the manosphere.
No, you don't.
No, okay. Well,
No.
they ain't no women either, right? They want a
Right.
complete separation from women.
At least you date. Like
Yeah, a lot,
they ain't
a
getting
lot.
no play. They ain't getting no
Man,
play.
yeah,
But
I did.
instead of that self-reflection, you have men who have deluded themselves, first of all, in the manosphere, who have deluded themselves into thinking that they're actually good men.
Mm,
You're not. I've seen the stuff you guys say online. You're not. You're not good men. If you were, you would get women, but you don't.
mhm,
Instead of that self-reflection, they're turning their ire, that hatred that they have for themselves, and they're
mhm.
projecting it onto, again, needing a definable enemy. And who
But
better than women?
that is also human nature. Human nature is first
That's
to deflect rather than reflect or
that's why
inflect.
we see it.
Which word is it? Which word?
What?
And when you look inward,
You reflect.
reflect. Yeah, okay. So
Or you might be
deflect,
thinking of introspection,
but
which is
that
the
doesn't
same.
work with deflect. You're the linguist. I need help
Yeah.
with these words.
Instead of them reflecting, they deflect.
Reflecting, they
But yeah,
deflect. Yeah.
but that's why you see again the same behavior in all of these systems of oppression. It's the
Hmm.
same behavior over and over. When you go and you look at the LGBTQ community and you see the treatment that trans people get from their own community of people.
Right. Because everybody thinks the LGBTQ plus community is all kumbaya. No,
No,
they are not.
no,
They are not.
there are some full turfs up in there. Like,
Yes.
yeah, so
Be beef between people who are gay and people who are bisexual.
yeah,
It'd be
yeah,
like real beef. And I was like, I don't understand this beef. I don't understand the beef because I'm an ally to the community, but I'm not in the community.
right,
Um, so I don't understand the beef, but it's not for me to understand. It's just like,
yeah,
hey, we got beef. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, maybe we can all just get along.
yeah.
Maybe we all can just get along. But
But this
um,
kind of behavior is a tale as old as time. Like you see
mm,
it over and over. How does one become a Nazi? How does one become a Klan member? How does one become, like
a
you see
Republican.
it. Yeah. I mean, you see it over and over again. Instead of seeking out healthy community and therapy,
Hmm.
you have very lonely, very lost men who are being preyed upon and taken advantage of by opportunists.
Ooh, opportunists.
Hmm.
We're gonna get to them next. So we were talking about the manosphere,
Hmm.
but who are these people that are in the manosphere that are major influencers? Well, we already talked about Andrew Tate. And if you
Yeah.
don't know who Andrew Tate is, he's a misogynist
Yes.
influencer. He's a former boxing champion. He was also arrested on suspicion of rape and sex trafficking in 2022. I don't remember what's going on with that court case, but I knew when it happened. I was like, that sounds about right.
It's
Uh,
still pending. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's not like, listen, the only people who listen to what he says and doesn't immediately think, hey, is he trafficking human beings are people in the manosphere.
right. But
Any other normal human being listening to Andrew Tate would be like, I feel like this guy is a criminal.
yeah, and there's something that came out recently where he was pitching something to kids. A lot of kids were signing up for it and paying for it, and it was a scam or something like that. He's a scam
Hmm.
artist.
Hmm.
He's a scammer.
Yeah.
Um, But just to prove in that binary definition of gender, male and females, that it's not all men that are in the manosphere.
Mhm.
There's Pearl Davis.
Yes, I can't stand this heifer.
Now, I felt
Yeah.
like when she started, I think she got progressively worse. But hold on, for
Yeah.
people that don't know who Pearl Davis is, it's a woman who promotes many similar ideas to Tate's, including that women shouldn't vote.
Mm-hmm.
She has a podcast. I'm not promoting any of their podcasts. Like,
No.
I'm not going to tell you what the name of their podcast is.
Absolutely not.
Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But she's interesting because I remember discovering her on TikTok, kind of when TikTok was first coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff that she was saying weren't extreme,
Right.
right? She was basically saying a lot of stuff that we would say, that men and women have to make sure. In the beginning, she would say men and women have to make sure that you date who it is that you're trying to fit in your life. Meaning that
Right.
if you want a partner and you want to go 50-50, then don't date a woman who wants to be a home maker,
Yeah. I say
right?
that all the time. Date people with similar value systems.
Right. So she used to preach that in the beginning, and then slowly but surely, and I know how it happened. I can see the thirstiness in it because I almost sometimes fall victim to it, but I can't be bought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you post something on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube and it gains traffic, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that feels good. I'm going to lean into that
Yeah.
because I know it'll gain traffic. And she's a woman promoting these misogynistic values. So
That's not
when most of the men hate women and say that we need to be separatists, they're going to choose her to be the champion because people always choose that one person in a group, Tim Scott, that will champion their cause, right? White people love Tim Scott
yeah.
because he'll say the things that they say, but now it's a black person saying it. Oh, Tim Scott said the country isn't racist, so we were right all along. No,
No.
no, you were not.
No.
But
Tim Scott
so
is just
these
assuming.
men in the manosphere will put their arm around Pearl because
Yeah.
she's speaking what they deem as their truth. And then you
But
got Myron Gaines.
oh yeah.
He wrote
Those
Why Women Deserve Less, and argues that modern women are unfairly benefiting from feminism at men's expense.
his
Um,
hairline deserves less.
and basically, it's all these people that are pushing these themes out, and they're getting rich. They're getting rich off of it. And
Rich.
you know what? I don't know if they believe exactly what they're saying.
They don't. And I can tell even Kevin Samuels was not the extreme. He was actually a lot more moderate, or talking about gender equality, but that wasn't getting him likes and clicks and views.
Mm-hmm.
And when he realized that he could capitalize on this incel culture, then that's when you see it change.
The
They
shift.
are c- purely opportunists, purely opportunists. And Pearl is not an anomaly.
Mm-mm.
The way that Roe v. Wade was able to be overturned, the way that Donald Trump got into office the first time and may possibly get into office a second time, is not going to be just through men alone.
Yeah.
There
So
are women that are there supporting them. The same women who made picnic baskets for the men going out for the lynching and who sewed them damn Ku Klux Klan hoods, them
right.
same women,
Mm-hmm.
okay? They the
Or were
same,
there at the lynching.
or were there at the lynching. And
Because
then
don't
and then also, let's be clear, I'm not just talking about white women, because you can go down to any AME Zion Baptist Church and find a Miss Pearl who is talking about the same
a black Miss Pearl.
bullshit.
A black Miss Pearl.
Yes, a Miss Pearly, Sister
Okay, that's
Pearl,
me. Sister Pearl. There we go.
Deaconess Pearl, who was talking about the same bullshit
Mm-hmm.
that these guys are talking about.
Mm-hmm. I remember
There's
when women were women. That's what
yes,
they'll say.
yeah,
When you hear a woman say something like that,
the ones that are
she right on the outside of that manosphere.
The ones that are so critical, especially of young women. Oh, she fast. She this,
Mm-hmm.
she that.
And she
Just
might
because
be fast, but so what?
that's not your damn business.
It's not your business.
It's not your damn business. So none of these people are anomalies. Opportunists will always find a way to cash in on grievances. Donald Trump is an opportunist. He's doing this exact same thing. Most politicians are opportunists in that way,
Mm-hmm.
where they cash in on your grievances. The whole weapons of mass destruction. We got into a damn war off a lie, capitalizing off of people's grievances. It is
Mm-hmm.
an old playbook, and it still works. And these people are rich. And the fact that their hatred and your bias is so ingrained that you can't even see when you're being played for filth is the saddest part of all of that. That your need for community and belonging and to have someone to blame for how shitty your life is has made you completely blind to the fact that you are being used and, quite frankly, abused
Mm-hmm.
by these people who are making dollar. First of all, my opinion is free.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if they really
we give perspectives, but that ain't free. By the
no,
way,
I mean,
donate and support the podcast.
oh yeah, because my opinion ain't free. But like,
Right.
an opinion is free, right? So if
Right.
these are people who really care about men's rights, why are they charging you for it?
Mm. Mm.
Why are you going after children who
Well,
have disposable income?
if I remember correctly, Malcolm and Martin didn't charge for their speeches on equality for men, because we in Black, is it African American History Month or Black American History Month? I don't like the term African American. I like Black
On
American
that
better.
note, everybody.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Black card has been revoked. It is
No,
Black
I'm just
History
messing with you.
Month.
Some people call it African American History Month. Some
I
people
don't know
do.
anybody that calls
Some
it
people
that.
do. Some white people I know.
I
They've
would
been
take
like, it's
Negro
African
History
American.
Week
No,
before I will take
no,
African American History.
no. I had a white person come up to me and just like, it's African American History Month. I was like, it's Black History Month.
Yeah.
It's Black History Month. Isn't African American better? I was like, I personally don't like the term African American because there are some people who are African American who are white because they're African American. Charlie Theron is a prime example. She's African American.
Well, I don't know who Charlie Theron is, but Charlize Theron, I do know, and that.
Look, you know I'm gonna mess up a name or two. Charlize Theron. You know her real name is Charlie Theron.
It's just that it's not that I don't like the term African American. It's just that it's not accurate.
Right, it's not accurate.
Because there are Africans who are American. Mm-hmm. They've immigrated from Africa. Right. They are African American.
Well, it is. We can both agree it's better than Afro American, which is something that Black people were called in this country at one time.
We called ourselves that.
Did we? Are you sure?
We called ourselves that. We didn't want to be colored anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we did it by a hairstyle, even though there are white people that have afros. But okay.
I don't know that Afro American is really connected to the Afro hairstyle. I'll have to look that up because I don't know.
Yeah, you look there, but that's something that we look up in Black History Month. But just so everybody knows that we're not bashing men all show, because we're getting close to the end here. Mm-hmm. You sent me something that actually offended me that you thought that I would think a certain way about it. So we don't have the video. So I'll give a synopsis of the video. There are two people on a date. Was it a dating show?
I believe it was a dating show. Yes.
Okay. There's a Black male and a Black female on a date, and they're doing, what you do on the first date. Ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
And as
So
he's
he was
asking them,
doing like a rapid fire type of 20
yeah,
questions type of thing. So he
rapid
would say
fire.
black or white, up or down, spring or fall, beach or mountains, like things like
Michael or
that.
Prince, Michael or
Right.
Prince. Like these were the questions that he was asking. And in the middle of those questions, he asked, choked or spanked. Uh, she was offended that he would put a sexual context into questions and said, basically, look, that was a sexual comment. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to continue on with this date, we can continue on with this date, but we're not going to go down that direction.
Right.
And he proceeded to gaslight her and say, well, that's not a sexual question. She was like, how is that not a sexual question? And I'm trying to figure out how that isn't a sexual question, because that's a sexual question.
Well, and it wasn't even like he said it like that. It was more like I didn't mean it in that way, or you didn't give me the respect of asking me whether I meant it in a sexual way.
Right. That's what he
And she
said.
was just like, I think any human being who heard that would say, which is a perfect thing to say to a
Yeah.
gaslighter of like, actually, anybody with common sense
Right.
who would hear that and immediately know that it does have a sexual connotation. And all she simply said was, that's not something I'm comfortable with asking. He doubled down on it. I asked you something, how do you feel about that? And she's like, I'm not comfortable with it. But if you want to continue this date, just drop it. We'll just move on.
Mm-hmm.
And he
And
tripled down.
he tripled down.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked out.
Yep.
She walked out. So you sent this video to me and you were like, what do you think? And I was like, what do you mean what I think? I think that she was right. That was great. I applaud the sister for walking out on a date. And you were so happy. I was like, damn it, Jay. Like, what? Like, who do you think I am to think that I would be on his side?
Now, old Bruce.
Old Bruce wouldn't even been on his side.
Old Bruce would have been like, she ain't had to get up and walk out like that.
No.
You
Old
don't
Bruce,
think so?
No, even when she said, hey, you was ill for what you just said, but I'm gonna continue on with this. Let's just move past it. I would have been like, okay, cool. If she had, fact of the matter is, like, I knew I would have been wrong if I had said something like that, so I wouldn't have been upset if she had bounced. No, there was no part of Bruce's life where Bruce would, and I hate referring to myself as a third person, but there's no part of my life where I would have been like, this is cool. What I was most impressed about is that I said, okay, because I always like to gauge things by going in the comments. So I went into the comments and I was like, I know what women's position is going to be. Let me hear what some of the men were saying. And all the men were saying the exact same thing. It's kind of easy because this was absolutely egregious what this man was doing. But it was still the fact that even though we talk about the manosphere and there's a lot of people in Gen Z and millennials and Gen X, and this is really a boomer thing, that have these type of thoughts. There are a lot of men out there that don't have these type of thoughts as well. So I was really, that's what I was most pleased about. I was as happy about that as you were about my comment, even though when you were so happy about my comment, I was actually offended that you were so happy.
I was not actually happy. I honestly just wanted your thoughts on what you saw. I just wanted your thoughts. And I thought, it might be something interesting for the show.
Yeah, it was. Well, it would have been better if there was, if she wasn't, if there was some wiggle room in between what he said and her actions, but there weren't. These were clear cut.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was saying. She set a boundary. She said, let's continue on. She not only did she not get up and walk out, she gave this young brother another chance when she didn't have to, because it was disrespectful from the jump. But she took that and was like, hey, I'm gonna give you, I would date this young lady. She wasn't really my type, but I would date this young lady just because she give a brother a second chance, because I'm gonna mess up 2, 3, 4 times.
Yeah, and I think that was fair, honestly.
That was a real mature way of handling it.
Yeah, because I don't know that I would have, especially.
You definitely wouldn't have.
Well,
You personally?
if he would have asked a question and I would have said, I'm not comfortable with asking, with answering that, and then would have come back with so how'd you feel about that? And I said what I said. I'm not comfortable with.
Jay, I know you.
But I would have said, can we move on? I don't know. I mean, can we stop talking about it and move on? Or I probably would have had the same reaction as her. Can we move on? And if you can't move on, then that lets me know if you will do this first meeting me, you ain't even putting your good foot forward. You're immediately gaslighting me.
Yeah.
Okay. It ain't going to get no better.
No better.
I'm going to go ahead and cut my losses. So I'll take this mic off. I'm going to hop in an Uber and I'm going home.
Because she sure enough did.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. What do you want to tell the people out there?
You said something and it's very true. There are men with their stuff together who are not in this manosphere and who support and love the women in their lives, and who know that we are not living in a zero-sum world where women getting equality or equity in society is not going to take away from anybody else, right? There's more than enough for us to share. Y'all never shared before. It was more than enough.
Right.
There are definitely men out there like that. Those men are who are going to be pivotal for combating the men in the manosphere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not gonna be women. They don't see us as human beings. They're not going to listen to us. The reason why the civil rights movement was successful is because Dr. King knew they weren't going to listen, but if they saw it, they saw the injustice, they saw the hoses and the dogs and the beating and all of that, then they couldn't help but feel some type of way about it. So I am not comfortable putting women in a position where they got to put their bodies on the line in order to get someone to care. And I honestly don't think that it'll work because our bodies are essentially the playground for which they, exert their political power, right? So it's not like us putting our bodies on the line is gonna move the needle at all. It is going to take other men holding men accountable. It's going to take other men saying, hey, young brother, listen here.
Right.
You got to treat a woman right. Like, where are those uncles at?
Well,
you got to treat your woman right. You got to take your ass home. Go on, take your ass home. Where is that old uncle? Where is he at? Because Gen Z is in dire need of that old uncle that is perpetually single, but
let me be that old uncle.
Pretty.
You got to treat him right.
Yeah,
treat him like you want to be treated. You got to treat him right.
You got to treat him right.
All right, Jay. I couldn't say it any better than that. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank everybody for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspective.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you're really feeling genuine and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.